They are coming for your shield fighter armors. This is really interesting. We have got Shadows of Valencia, and there are a lot of things to talk about. We're going to jump right into it with this unit that I just completely forgot her name. Nuibaba. There we go. Anyway, she looks pretty great. Okay, but what does she do with the big horns and the fallen Delthea? We're going to find out. So this is very much in the supportive nuke, or de-supportive? Anyway, the penalty throwing nuke that we have seen so much in the game. We have Arcane Medusa, which is an arcane blue tome. It's a lot of what you've seen before with a little bit extra. Now, we have Slaying. At start of turn, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants Anathema to unit for 1 turn. If you remember, there was a Tharja with this just recently, and this is a rain skill that has an Omni -4 to foes who are coming in. The biggest reason that it was amazing on Tharja and okay here is that on Tharja it gave it out to a whole bunch of people, and so that when other folks would attack in, your entire team, however many had Anathema, would all debuff that opponent, and it could be pretty significant. This is still good, and it helps you with things that require bonuses to get going, but it's not the most amazing thing ever. It's just good. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than 25%, grants bonus to units attack speed defense res equals 25% of foes attack at start of combat -4. Most of the time, max 14. 14, as we've talked about, is kind of the threshold now. You want that to be at least 14. We have true damage of 15% of the unit's attack, and that includes AoEs, which is very nice on an arcane weapon, and reduces damage by 7 and from the first attack, and that includes Braves, and grants special jumping, that preempt pulse. So that's nice. It's very concise, but these are all very good things for a nuke. This is going to be usable across a wide range of blue tomes. This is good. This is not amazing, but it is on par with the other things we've seen. We then have Iceberg. This unit has a lot of res. We have Sly Mirror, which in my opinion, the Sly skills are probably the best A skills you can get right now because of how good true damage is. And then we get on to the preference. This is where things get interesting because on paper, this looks really good. This is Mounting Fear. At start of turn, inflicts panic, exposure, and deep wounds. Deep wounds is very good on foes with res less than units res that are within 2 spaces of another foe through their next action. Okay, we're going to talk about all that in just a second. I want to move on to the rest of this. So, inflicts attack res -5 on foe, deals damage equals 25% of units res. True damage is always excellent. We notice we've got 2 layers of it now with both the weapon and this, which is good, and reduces the percentage. We got 50% piercing, and also for units first attack during combat, if damage dealt prior to damage reduction calculation is less than foe's HP -1, so if they don't kill, sets damage before damage reduction as foe's HP -1. Okay, this is Bane. Bane sounds amazing on paper until you see the way it interacts with damage reduction, which is it doesn't. damage it doesn't pierce through damage reduction at all. So really, this is a lot of nothing. It's okay. It's still additional damage that you're doing, but it's not as good as it sounds. That's really what I'm saying. I remember the overreaction, me included, on Soth before we realized the limitations of what that did. So this is not as amazing as it sounds. It's still good though. The problem with this is how much cleansing there is, and there's good and bad here. If you are looking at cleansing from, say, Freyr, then all 3 of those things, poof, disappear. Panic, exposure, deep wounds, just gone. If you're looking at Micaiah, then you're only taking away 2 of those, and often that leaves other things open, such as Layla and Undefended. There is some really interesting interactions there you can play with. The I think the real point of this is to overwhelm your enemy, but this is a premium to slot into your team just to overwhelm them. That's hard to do. Times Pulse Helm is interesting. I don't understand why we're getting all of these Times Pulse skills all of a sudden, but you know, at start of turn, if unit's special cooldown is at its max, you know what? Okay, Times Pulse 4, and then grants bonus to units attack res during combat equals units maximum special cooldown count plus 2. That's decent. It's always nice to get stats. This is definitely a power crept version of Times Pulse 4, but it's not something that you're just screaming to get on your unit. It's not enough right now, but it is nice to have. And if you are inheriting other things as well, you can get Times Pulse Helm from this rearmed unit, and that's not bad at all. But this is not something you're just going out of your way to get. Before we go to the tier list, we need to look at this special because this is both hilarious and awesome. Okay, it comes in, yeah, the Medusa face just kills me. That is a lot. So yeah, Nuibaba coming in with Medusa hitting for specials 2 times, which is what she's supposed to do. Let's go to the tier list though. I'm not real high on this unit. I think the way she had to put on debuffs needed to be different. We've seen a lot of different things where you can put it on at the start of both player and enemy phase or something like that. And this is just straight up debuff. So it's okay. That's all I can really say. The unit herself, if this is your favorite, I think you're going to be able to find a place for her, but I think it's going to be a little harder, and that's tough to say about a unit that's brand new out of the box. As a rearmed unit, I don't have the rankings up here, but she's also not very high. She's just kind of another unit. We're at the point where you have to really distinguish yourself as a rearmed, and this is par for the course, and a lot of units have surpassed that, and we have attuned units that are giving out special skills. So, yeah. Next up, we have Nomah, and this is another one of these units that they're really trying to play with warping and how you can do it, while at the same time nerfing warping. You notice he is next to a trap, and so everyone can move within 2 spaces. There are going to be places where this is incredibly powerful. Okay, there are not going to be places. It's just in Eitr raids. That's it. I don't love that. So Prior's Tome has Sling, and if unit is within 2 spaces of a trap in Eitr raids, allies on map can move to a space within 2 spaces of unit. That is any kind of trap, whether it's been triggered or it's fake or anything else. Allies within 2 spaces of unit can move to any space within 2 spaces of unit. So obviously there's guidance for there as well. All types of mobility shenanigans. For allies within 2 spaces, grants attack res +5 and neutralizes penalties to attack res during combat and restores 7 HP. So there's a lot of things there. Then we have if unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants bonus to units. Attack and res equals 20% of units res at start of combat +6 and neutralizes units penalties to attack res and deals damage equals 20% of units res, excluding AoEs, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack and restores 7 HP. There's a lot of things. Seal attack res, I didn't even realize we didn't have the that out there. And we have Pulse Up Ploy, which is one of my favorite skills right now in the sea, and you can see they did the whole thing at start of player or enemy phase, which is really handy. Anyway, this unit is... Okay, let's go to the tier list. So I have the support heroes tier list up again, and I have him in tier 3, and that might be generous. So the warping gimmick is really neat, and if you've got the right team, it can be nutty powerful, but we're talking about a unit that only helps you in Eitr raids, and most of Eitr raids, you are either you have the unit that counters the other team and you just wipe them clean, or you are scrounging to get every bit of damage you can get. out of your units against the opponent. And that's regardless of whether you're on offense or defense. And this unit doesn't help you with that. It just helps with mobility. We have a ton of units that help with mobility. Mobility is just coming out of the walls right now. There is a battle on whether you're countering warping, or if you get extra spaces, or if you have pass. It is nutty, and this unit is one of many who do it, and that's why tier 3 and might need to be in tier 4. I usually try to give new units the benefit of the doubt. That is not to say you can't use this unit, but I don't know that he is benefiting your team. I think it is something that you're using him because he's your favorite, and you can do that. I would not personally go out of my way to get this unit unless maybe you need Pulse Up Ploy, but it's best not to summon for fodder, especially with how fast things move. It's where we're at right now. Next, we have Jesse, and keep in mind this is in the pool. This unit is being put into the main pool. So we've got a sword infantry unit with Hex Blade Sword Plus. So this is not a bad weapon. You get to pass through terrain, you get Hexblade, and you do get 10% of your attack as true damage and some extra stats. So this is not bad at all. Moonbow is so-so. Speed Defense Ideal 3, I like any new skills we can have in the main pool, and Repel 3 it's fun. This is not a unit that is going to push any boundaries whatsoever, but it is nice to see them fill in some of these skills in the main pool, and they're doing that. Otherwise, this is yet another sword infantry, and that's about it right now. All right, on to the main course here. We have Alm, and I mean, any Alm is a nice Alm. We love to get him in the game. The English voice actor is not here yet. We see huge amounts of warping and True Bond Bow. So we have Sling. We have the warping where a unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of any ally within 2 spaces. At start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, for unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit, grants attack speed, great talent +2. More on that in a second. And also, if special cooldown count is at its maximum value, grants special cooldown count -2. If special cooldown count is at its max value -1, then it grants special count value -1. So we've seen this before. That means that you're almost always going to get 2 special cooldown count over whatever skill you have. In this case, True Lunar Flash. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants bonus to units, attack speed, defense res equals number of allies within 3 rows and 3 columns. Good lord, that's a lot. Max 14. So again, we talked about that. That is the minimum threshold. 14 stats there. Unit deals +X damage. So this is true damage. It excludes AoEs and reduces damage from foes' first attack by X. And this is where things get a little interesting. X equals total value of attack and speed, great talent, ×2, max 30. That's a lot. So for the damage reduction, that means brave attacks, and it restores 7 HP to unit after combat. This skill can get up to great talent of +10. Now that is attack and speed +10. This is an interesting use of great talent. Now, the ups and downs of great talent, and we've seen this a lot with Alphonse. Alphonse gets better the more turns you go. This unit gets more damage and more flat DR the more turns you go. The earlier turns are more valuable than the later turns. That's just flat the way it is. And so you're not going to get as much benefit out of this skill in the early turns. It dings this unit's value just a little bit, but once this unit gets going, 30 true damage is a lot. That is serious. So again, once you get going, this unit is going to be fantastic. You just got to live long enough for that to happen. But wait, there's more. True Lunar Flash, when special triggers, treats foes' defense res as if reduced by 35% and boosts damage by 35% of unit speed, and has full piercing and prevents foes' specials that are triggered by units' attack. That's a big deal, and a shot across the bow of Shield Fighter. It's really interesting. If unit or foe special is ready or triggered before or during combat, this is the Armored Beacon damage reduction of 40%, which is not bad to help keep this unit alive, along with the flat DR we saw up above. That should be decent. Perfect attack speed is excellent on this unit, and that is a fantastic A skill. Speed Taker 4 is really good because you are also getting great talent from this as well, which helps you with your true damage up above. And then we have yet another skill that has times pulse, but this is Pulse on Blades. Grants bonus to units attack and speed equals units max special cooldown count value plus 2. And if units attack trigger unit special, grants special cooldown count minus 2 to unit before unit's first follow-up attack during combat. Wow. Okay. This unit is really designed to hit with their special a lot. They are going to... How good this unit depends on how many times you can get that special off. Lull Echo. This is a lull 4 in an Echo skill. Remember when we got Death Blow 2? That's... yes. All right. Inflicts penalty on foes. Attack speed defense res equals number of bonus effects active on foe, max 4, and neutralizes foes bonus during combat. Honestly, the inflicts penalties, the Omni 4 is nice. It's not amazing. The neutralizes bonuses is not a small deal right now. We are seeing this be really influential on a lot of units. I've always talked about how good it is in Arena, but we've seen more visible buffs from units that just come free from whatever preference things they have. So this is becoming a bigger and bigger deal, and honestly, it's really good on a variety of different units. Just as a reminder, this can't be used on armors or flyers, but on infantry and on calves, this is excellent, specifically on calves, because they have a real lack of echo skills that they can use. This is absolutely one of them. Before we get to Alm's tier list, we just opened up the store, and I want to say, as an introductory sale, all of Kenmay's t-shirts, the amazing little orbs that the Three Houses crew are holding, those are 20% off. Let's talk Alm though. Ranged nukes. We need to talk about this because things are a-changing. When I last sorted all of this out, like in a big way, I didn't count so much the support that you could get from other units, but that is just not a thing right now. The amount of killing power that a ranged nuke has is so dependent on what other units you have. You look at Lin. If you include Katria support in that unit and Emir support as well, suddenly that unit starts killing a lot of different things and a lot of armors that are really, really nasty. It's the same with a lot of these units. So there are a lot of things that go into being a good nuke, and a lot of them are extras. Like, for instance, Yunaka has a ton of them. The reason you can see that I dropped her down into tier 1 as opposed to keeping her in tier 0 was her damage output is good, but it's not as good as some of these other units. And I know some of you have done some crazy things with this unit. I still think the damage output is better up above. We talked about Lucina. We talk about her every time I get to this ranged nuke tier list. The reason she is not number 1 is because this isn't a supportive tier list. If you count in everything, Lucina is an amazing unit, and she's right now on the A Hero Rises. And so that is a thing you can definitely go out and get. But regardless of all the hemming and hawing, what keeps Alm in that tier 0 is if he has enough damage output. If you think about the things he's going up against, it's the units that are supported by Rhea. So they also have miracle support, and there are a ton of other things you have to be able to get through. There is a lot that goes into being a nuke right now. I think this unit has the potential to be in that tier 0, but this is another one that we really need to get into testing, and I think this unit is going to be an absolute menace. The biggest place I think he's going to be a menace, though, is in the Lin configuration, where he's sitting right next to Katria and has the Lin ring and lobs things over. I don't know that his warping is going to be as influential as it could have been in the past, and that's mostly obvious, but something to think about. The other thing is, in order to really get the benefit out of the warping, you would have to swap over to pass in the B skill, and I don't think you want to give up Speed Taker. It is hard to kill units, even with blocking their shield fighter stuff. I think you are going to want as much true damage as possible, and if you think about it, there are a lot of units that do not use shield fighter right now as well, so it's something to think about. This is a very good unit. If we hop over into the fodder factory tier list, don't freak out. I didn't have enough space to put on Tamara. This is just a sampling, but I again have him at the back end. I keep finding uses for Micaiah. I keep trying to drop her down. I don't know if you noticed in the last nuke tier list, she moved back up again because she pairs really well with Lin and Katria and Astra in the special. It's nutty. She keeps on being good again. That is about the tier that I have this Alm in. If you want to look at his trajectory, you can look at Legendary Alm, who stayed good for way longer than he was supposed to because a lot of the other things he did. This unit doesn't have as many other things, but that one thing, stopping shield fighter, is really, really important right now. But in regards to this, the big thing is he also has an amazing attuned skill with that lull. That is just, it's one of those things that is universally good. Lulls are fantastic, and you're talking about putting on calves. Calves don't have a lot of other things that they can have on them. So I think that is going to be a big, big deal. The fact that it's an Omni lull too is just, that's nuts. What do you do with that? It's a very, very good skill there, and a lot of calves are going to want that. Speaking of A Hero Rises, it is still going on, and I had my entire review on that along with builds and a lot of other things in the video that I'm linking here. Members, you are amazing. Thank you for all you do. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.